Evening all, welcome to some more tactics, and today what we're going to do is something a little bit interesting. So make sure you watch this video to the end, because we got the special effects toolbox out, and we've done a little bit of I don't know, a bit of fun with the old plasma cannon. You'll see what I mean in a moment, but the plasma cannon is something that is just amazingly good. It's the gift that keeps giving for for kind of slow-mo special effect stuff, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. Anyway, so how's the game? Well, the game is going quite well, I've got to admit. We've been enjoying quite a lot of the games lately. I think people, and I mean, again, the changes to the armor plates means that the TTK has gone down, if that makes sense. So it's actually quicker to kill people, which isn't too bad, but I think maybe the changes to the rifles as well has made the rifles slightly less good over the range. I don't know, but it feels certainly like it, and I think there is definitely there's definitely a lot more kind of, I don't know, run and gun and quick paced kind of fun happening. So for example, I'm being chased by two shotgunners here, two scout shotgun cloakers, so I know they're on my tail, but I also have a flaylock. And there we go, boom. Oh, I love this gun. And then here he is, here's his buddy with his scrambler pistol. And there we go. So I think this has got to be one of the beauties of the game, is the game has sped up a little bit. In some cases it's actually maybe slowed down, but I think it's pretty good. So for me, oh, as I get an overnight, there we go. For me, I think there's definitely something you know, quite cool and feeling about the game at the moment, and I think the plasma cannon is most definitely the reason that I'm just loving this game at the moment. It's funny really, because the game feels now like it did, as I mentioned in the last video, back in series 2, around, you know, episode 10 to 15, those kind of ones. That was when the plasma cannon, the flaylock was amazing. Look at this. So here we go. There we go, and back you go. Look at the ragdoll, isn't that gorgeous? So I'm just going to show you this in a bit of a slow motion. Look at that fragmentation, anyone? Beautiful. I love this. Look at the ragdoll as he splats on the floor. Stretched legs apart. So there's definitely something very, very cool about guns like the plasma cannon, and I think, you know, if you're the kind of player that, you know, you're not too concerned about KD and all that nonsense, you're more, you know, this is to you as an entertainment piece, then I think give the plasma cannon a go, and you won't be disappointed, because it is ridiculously fun at times. And I think certainly one of the big things for me was just mixing it with that flaylock and remote explosive. So everything about my fit is explosive, and quite literally, because there's so much you can do with it. So you can, like, you know, you can drop remote explosives, you can have somebody then come at you, and it really does work. It makes a lot of sense indeed. Look at that, look at that, look at that. It's the old flaylocking days. Boom. Even heavies now I am not too scared of. It used to be, back in the day, that the one thing that would make me run like a little girl crying back to my CRU would be a heavy, because heavies were just ridiculously good. They had a lot of hit points. And even getting them to armor wasn't enough, so, you know, it was always a bit of a tricky one if you could even as we kill the knifer, it was always a tricky one if you can actually kill a heavy at all. Now with the plasma cannon, because if you can get that hit dead on, then he's dead regardless, so that's like a no-brainer. If you can get the shot roughly right next to him within a meter, you know that they're going to be in such trouble that they're, you know, they are then possibly a 3-shot from the flaylock. Now I use a core flaylock, so I'm getting about 150, something like that, damage around, you know, in terms of splash. You know, rarely do you hit anybody directly with a flaylock round. It's always generally splash, I find, but I could be wrong. But and I think that, you know, when you've got, like, you know, 450 more damage points that you could potentially do with the bonus to armor, etc., it's actually quite considerable. Look at this, boom! Just show that in slow-mo. Oh, lovely. Now that was probably a direct hit. But again, here we go. Look, you know, a heavies used to make me run away. Now I think to myself, remote explosives perchance, and there we go, boom, goodbye. Oh, this game, man, it's getting good, seriously. Now that's a good example of where the plasma cannon isn't so good. You may have noticed that guy actually, the round went through him, if that makes sense. Did you see that? Wind back if you didn't. But yeah, effectively the rounds on the plasma cannon, as soon as it's left the player's model, or the gun, if you want to be, you know, RP about it, it does not always connect. So I think there's like a split-second piece where it has no effect, then it's an entity in the world, and then it's streaming towards someone very slowly. And that's probably worth noting, because you can't point blank people. Okay, so if you run up behind somebody and shove the gun muzzle in their face, then pull the trigger, it'll actually come out the back of their head and leave them fine. So yeah, probably want to bear that one in mind. To be honest, it's not too much of a problem, because if you're firing at anything point blank with a plasma cannon, you're probably dead as well, because the splash on it is pretty good. So I've noticed that myself. I've actually suicided by running at a dude and dropping the plasma round right on the floor in front of me, killing me and him. It's quite funny if you can do that. Look at that, almost an example there. But look at that, you see how he flew? Oh yeah. Oh, it's particularly deadly against scouts, is the plasma cannon. I mean, it's just astonishingly good against scouts. I think that's probably the one thing to bear in mind. As long as you can get the shot aimed correctly at the model, and you don't even have to hit them, the splash will do the rest. The plasma cannon is just redonkulously good. In fact, there's very few guns, or rather very few suits, that I'm terribly afraid of, and this video I think is hopefully going to show you that. This is probably one of my best videos, or rather rounds, I've ever done. I mean, it just, everything about it was sublime. In that everybody I engaged, I felt I had a chance to kill. So this guy, for example, you know, probably better fit than I am, but boom, gone. And that is a real good example of how a plasma cannon, then the flaylock, and then if all else fails, the remote explosives. And you'll be amazed actually how that little you know, trilogy of combos works, you know, together. So, you know, that's just a guy learning their fit, learning the limitations and capabilities. I think as well, there's everything about this suit that is fun. So everything that makes a big flashy explosion-y noise, I think definitely is my thing. I think the shield mix and the armor mix, so I'm armor shield tanking, I mean that makes no sense whatsoever, and I'm speed tanking as well, again no sense, but it's just a little bit of the best of everything, and I'm amazed it even works, but there we go. So a heavy, or is it a commando, who knows, but it's a heavy looking thing. Now he's a very good shot, look at that, he was doing a great job keeping me at bay. So as we run away, he is somebody to probably keep away from. And I'm looking always at the overview, so I see there he's looking for me, so he's now got his back to one of our colleagues. As we place a remote on this tank is oh, it's an Aurum one, look at that, you can tell because of the camouflage, and then he shoots me because lol tanks, but there we go. So good thing is it drops me back on the hill. So here we go. Now plasma cannon and tank, this is one of the finer things in life. Boom. Now he is pretty tough, but he's running, so look at this as a finishing maneuver. Blow. Come on, that is worthy of note. That's a move of song. They'll write songs about that maneuver in the future, probably. No, they won't, but look at that. So there's just a little bit of replay. Kablow. Again, this is the fun of this gun. It is just so much fun. And I think, you know, people dismiss it because, yeah, it is a bit of a comedy fit, but when you can do stuff like that, that's pretty decent. That's pretty special. I think you'll agree. And I think certainly the game needs more guns like this. Games that just have the AR-12 or whatever it is, or the, you know, is that a shotgun? I don't know. If you have then like assault rifles and stuff like that, and sniper rifles, it's all good stuff. But I think games need to have more than that. They need to have exotic, fun weapons like grenade launchers, rocket launchers. I even think things like, you know. Oh my god, you see how close that was? Now this is the beauty of this fit. So already it's repping itself, and then I just rush around the corner, bang, straight in his face, point blank. Now that's a heavy suit gone. Now I know there's a Galante assault up there as well, I believe, or maybe even a Logi, I'm not sure. So we're just going to kind of pull back, get our stuff together, and as we're sat here, we're then just ready to, you know, run at the next dude as he comes. But here we go, a Nova Knifer, boom. Oh, love it. So back to that little bit of the steps. I still see there's someone there, so we're going to go get him. Now I know there he is, and we're just going to get a splash on him. Now watch this. This has got to be the beauty of the thing. Now that he's a jumping strafey, you know, kind of guy, so he knows what he's doing. So we just go straight at him up the stairs, and he's trying to reload and get his AR running. Now again, he runs an AR. You know, I have nothing wrong with that, but I think, to be honest, you might be better off with explosive weaponry like I'm using there. Again, the AR is good from all ranges, and it's good for all instances, I guess, but the explosive one is a lot more fun. Anyway, there we go. What a match. Probably one of my more enjoyable matches. I think certainly I think that was one of my rare ones where I seemed to really kind of be on my game, so I wasn't missing terribly. And I got a fair bit of ISK, already capped out, but look at that, 25 kills, not bad indeed. And I think, you know, okay, 7 losses is a bit bad, but that was just stupid stuff, I guess, but not too bad for me at all. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that, because to be honest, that is a great example of what the fun elements of this game can be. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.